It is April the 2nd, 2021. I'm Andy, and this is the Minorcan Mullet Report from the Golden Ray Rec site in the St. Simons Sound. We stopped over at the port today just to take a quick look and got a couple shots here. We saw guys up in the personnel lift. They're still working on unloading the vehicles here out of the ship. This has been going on for a day or so, but they're utilizing the big Pacific Horizon crane. They're on the site, and they are pulling some cars out. The blue grapple's over there, and it is loading those vehicles over into a hopper barge. We'll keep an eye on that. Well, today, now this is down on the south end of St. Simons Island in the Sound, close to the area where the navigational towers have been taken down, and near the Sea Island Golf Course on the south tip of the island. And what we did today is we've just kind of rode down this area of the marsh. It's a pretty good stretch, and we've kind of sped the video up and included some stills, and we just wanted to show you guys the extent of what we're seeing as far as damage to the marsh and the estuary here, and what all this area. Now, this isn't all of this, is just a section of it, but you're going to see, just kind of understand how much we're kind of dealing with here. You could very clearly see the oil line in the marsh grass and how it has affected those areas. Of course, it's just kind of sitting in there with the tide coming up and down has just really coated the grass. The plan is to put kind of chopped up or ground up sphagnum moss onto these areas. That moss will adhere to this oily material and help to kind of break it down, kind of spread it out, increase the surface area so that the sun can help break this stuff down, and it will also kind of keep it kind of clumped together in these areas, and so it doesn't get back into the estuary and get ingested by other wildlife. But it's impacted a pretty significant amount of area. From what we understand now, they're saying maybe 2.5 miles of both the beach and some of this marsh has been impacted. Very well could be more as we continue to kind of look around and try to find these areas. And we're expecting a good bit of this marsh area to die back from this amount of oil that it has sustained. And the unfortunate thing about it is we're still seeing a pretty substantial amount of product coming off of Section 6 as it hangs from the VB 10,000. We were hoping to see the dry dock section out there at high tide. That's an activity that has to take place at high tide, and see that section lowered down on the barge for no other reason than to provide a catch vehicle or catch basin for any residual product that still may be coming off of the ship onto the environmental into the environmental barrier. But that we didn't see that again today, and hopefully that'll happen soon, and at least try to stop that part, the part that where the contaminants are coming off of Section 6, and kind of take it out of the equation. It's been a rough weekend. This is the last thing we wanted to see, and just a real disappointment in the environmental barrier and its effectiveness for stopping, slowing down, whatever the contaminants coming off of off the site. It's just been kind of rough, and we knew there was some oil that was still unaccounted for, and it looks like maybe they have really found some of it. Hopefully, this if they really know where it is, if this is all of it, wonderful. If it's not, we just hope maybe they can try to figure out how to get in there and maybe take care of what residual oil is still on the ship. So maybe if they make this last cut, it won't be such a problem with the last cut. This black oil that we're seeing here, this is bunker fuel oil, the heavy fuel oil from off the ship. This isn't engine oil out of a car or transmission fluid or diesel fuel. So the ship would have had diesel as well as this heavy fuel oil on it. Once the ship gets out to sea, they will switch over to this heavy fuel oil and burn that oil in the ship's engine. It's a much cheaper fuel than the diesel fuel that would have to, once they get within a certain distance of this country and some other countries, they have to switch over to this low sulfur diesel fuel to meet the emission requirements for the vessels in the area of United States and some other countries. But once they're out the open sea, they can burn the cheaper fuel, and that's the majority of the fuel that would have been on the ship. So that's kind of what we're seeing here, and it's really, really thick. When we see it and when we've collected it, it's almost like the consistency of honey. It's really thick and really sticky, and once you get it on you, it's real bothersome to try to get off and scrub off. It's pretty nasty stuff. So this area we're looking at, this is the back of the Sea Island Golf Course, known locally. The lodge is the big resort that's here. This golf course actually hosts a PGA event every year, and it's right on the St. Simons Sound and kind of overlooks right now the Golden Ray wreck site. So they're very close to the wreck site here, less than probably half a mile away, and with the wind blowing the way it was, that product, when it came off the ship into the current, went right over and hit this spot, as well as on down from the St. Simons Pier, the lighthouse, stretching all the way back to the King and Prince Beach Resort on St. Simons. But here we can see some of the crews, and you can see what they've collected. They're working on looks like some of the oil that may have been up on the sand areas there. We think they were out putting some of the sphagnum moss out there as well. So they're advancing on the cleanup, and wishing them the best, because they know that they've got a pretty good task ahead of them. And we're lucky to have these guys. These guys that are doing this are some of the best in the world, and we're very, very happy to have these guys here. But all along, it's just a ring of oil across the marsh grass. And at low tide, we would probably be aground right here. So this area is affected really significantly by the tide, and there'll be like a shelf of sand and out in front of this marsh grass area once the tide goes down. And the only way we can really get up this close in this area is to wait for high tide. But the environmental boats still out on the sound. These guys are working, I think we counted 16 boats out today, and here we got a picture of one of the crews. We kind of pulled by, just give the guys a thumbs up and just let them know we appreciate what they're out there doing. And I want you guys to notice the boom material back there, what they're putting. You can really see, they're collecting the stuff that they can get to out here with the boat. So it is there. And these guys were out in open boats, and we had a storm that approached. They're out in the weather, and these guys stayed on station working the booms until the thunder started, until lightning, until it became a hazardous situation, and they finally left the site. They're doing everything they can. But here we still see the Golden Ray, and it's kind of halfway. I won't say halfway, but still kind of submerged into the water. Still waiting, hopefully, to see that barrier get open, and let's try to slide that dry dock system underneath there, and at least get something underneath there to try to catch what product still may be coming off of this section to arrest us. And it is still kind of coming off. We got a little a video that's coming up, and it's going to show you some of that. We're actually seeing some pretty strong rainbow coloring in those areas that are still flowing off the site. And even right here, you can kind of see a streak in the water where it still has contaminants. It's still a pretty large area of stuff that's out there in the sound right now, moving around. Wind is still blowing into the direction of St. Simons Island. We've seen that trend going on now for 3 or 4 days. Typically, we would be seeing a northeast wind, but as the wind has it now, it's putting it back towards St. Simons, and we're seeing it on a rather regular basis now, washing up on the beach. We were down at the lighthouse last night, and we're seeing products still coming back up on the beach. And that's the thing, the guys that go out, they're cleaning the beach today. They get back, and you got to have crews go back there because more washed back up on the beach during the high tide of the nighttime. So it's never ending. And here we can kind of, if you look at the water here, you can definitely see the rainbowing of this stuff on top of the water. And then we would run into little pockets where it was heavier. But yeah, still kind of coming off the wreck site, and hoping for the best that this can get arrested soon. Well, hey, that's going to be the report for today. I'd like to thank you guys for joining us. We're going to ask, if you haven't done it yet, click on that subscribe link. It's down in the lower right-hand corner. Send us some comments. Hit the thumbs up when you can. Hey, and most of all, we want you guys to stay safe out there.